Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Neon Dynasty Draft Tournament. Today, I'm battling against 7 other content creators in a search for ultimate glory, honor, and a $1,000 cash prize. Actually, it's $500 for first place, but $1,000 prize pool. This is the first round. If I make it into the top 4, so going 2-1 or better, I make it into the second round, and in that round, the top 4 will all get compensated monetarily, and also winning would just be ultimate glory. So that would be fantastic. And let's dive in. If you do enjoy this, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe for more draft content, and comment below if you do enjoy this sort of tournament content. Here, the pick is very easy, which is kind of a nice way to start off the draft. Assassin's Ink is a premium removal spell. It is 4 mana to just kill anything, and often it's going to cost 3 or even 2. So that's really, really good. It's also monocolored, fits into any strategy. There's not a ton of other great cards in the pack. Modern Age is a card I like. The rare, it doesn't do much. And yeah, those are the gold cards. So I'm just going to take Assassin's Ink. Yes. Whoa. Thank you so much, Avalanche, for the subscription. I appreciate it. Okay, so we started with a red card, but that doesn't mean we can't go any direction still. This pack is much weaker, but there is still a clear best card. I think Kumano Face's Kakazan is the best card in the pack. 1 mana for a 2/2 haste that can exile creatures, which can be relevant, and also can make my 2-drop come in with a counter if I am aggressive enough. I do like this card a lot. There's also High Speed Hover Bike, which is a card I'm not sure how powerful it is because you're not getting a stats boost, and because you're not getting a stats bump, which I think you kind of need with vehicles to make them playable because they aren't creatures all of the time, I'm not sure how good High Speed Hover Bike ends up being. So I haven't played with the card, but I think it's between the Kumano Faces Kakazan and the High Speed Hover Bike. The black cards in this pack, the Ambusher and the Salvage, aren't cards I'm super in for, especially this early. Sling is okay, I guess, but it's not my favorite type of card. I think it's between the Hover Bike and the Kumano. I'm also going to take the Kumano. One thing that's worth noting is this is an open deck list event, which means that combat tricks get significantly worse. Okay. Because your opponents get to know all of the cards in your deck. So in this pack, there's Greasefang Okiba Boss, which goes well with some vehicles. And because if your vehicle dies, you get to bring it back at the beginning of combat on your turn. It is quite powerful. It is also a gold card in a color that I don't have any cards in right now because I do have the Kumano instead. Odin Cult Anvil is quite powerful, and it's a gold card with the 2 cards that I already have. Black-red could be a good open strategy to go into with this sort of start. There's also Papercraft Decoy, which is a good artifact that could maybe wheel, probably not. I don't think I want to take the Greasefang. I could still play it with Assassin's Ink, but I would give up on my Kumano. And I don't want to commit to this color. I think because this card can be with both of the cards I already have, I would rather take this. There's also Spirited Companion, which is a fine card. I think I would take Greasefang if I wasn't taking the Anvil. Okay, so we have in our pile, great black removal spell, great, kind of pretty solid red uncommon that has a lot of potential, in the Oni Cult Anvil. Let's see what we're working with here. Nothing really immediately stands out to me except this Simian Sling, because if I do get an artifact synergies with like Oni Cult Anvil and like having aggression with the Kumano, I could want the Simian Sling. There's also Explosive Entry as a removal spell for artifacts. This pack is a little bit weaker, which means that I'm willing to just take a hit on power level to take a card that's going to synergize with my deck. This card has good synergy with not only Assassin's Ink, but also the Anvil and slightly with Kumano. And it's like another card that just could work. I think Jukai Trainee is the best card in the pack, but I think I'd rather just take a role player for my deck that I'd be happy playing 1 copy of at this point in the draft, so I don't have to like worry about getting it later. There's also Explosive Entry, which is reasonable, but I think it's worse than the Sling. But yeah, I think Salvage is the worst option there. Okay, so this is a great start for me so far. Gravelighter can do a lot of work if I'm like trading creatures off. The Octopus is not like the best because it's kind of slow. I think Nezumi Blade Blaster is pretty good if you have enchantments and artifacts, or the potential to get both, but I'm only ever going to have just artifacts. So 3/2 Death Touch is fine, but the fact that it's never going to have Menace is a downside. Scrapyard Steelbreaker, nice sacrifice synergy for my artifact. And then there's Peerless Samurai. There's also Gravelighter, which does have a great synergy with the Oni Cult Anvil if I am sacrificing those 1/1s. So maybe I just take Gravelighter, try to get something like Steelbreaker later, and just get a flyer. Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page as Charlie here. I guess you guys can't see the chat. I am streaming this live. I just don't have Twitch chat up because it would have blocked stuff, so you can't see what the chat's saying. Okay, and now we get an Experimental Synthesizer. This is an interesting spot because Enthusiastic Mechanaut coming around relatively late means that there's probably not a blue-red artifacts drafter. Experimental Synthesizer is really good, though, because I can sacrifice it to my Oni Cult Anvil, and also because if I have other things like Scrapyard Steelbreaker, I can sacrifice it. Hopefully I can get a Steelbreaker later. And overall, I'm really happy with the direction of this draft. It looks like we've kind of found the open lane. We started with a black card, then a red card, and then we took a black-red card, and we kind of have our lane as open. That doesn't mean that we couldn't have moved out of it, but I think at this point, with all of this synergy, we're just going to try to optimize this is the build that we can go for, and just get as much synergy into this deck as possible. This means that I'm just kind of committed to black-red at this point. I have 6 great cards. That's like a quarter of the cards I need for a deck, and I think we can really get something strong going here. Okay, so now it's between the Explosive Entry, Containment Construct, and Replication Specialist. I could consider splashing blue, so this isn't out of the question at all. My deck might just be more grindy mid-range, and I have some artifacts that it could synergize really well with. What's my discard stuff? I don't have anything that discards a card, so I'm not going to take the Containment Construct. Specialist is really high upside and really powerful if I can get some blue artifact synergies, and getting it pick 7, sorry. I'm looking at, there's 9 cards in the booster. Means that it could be really powerful. And I think it's worth splashing potentially if I need some power level and I get the mana. So I'm going to take the Specialist over the Explosive Entry. I'm pretty happy with this pickup too. And I can just get an entry later. It is good to note that there is going to be sideboarding involved. Oh my gosh. Another Oni Cult Anvil. This is going to be an insane deck. Let's go! You love to have an insane deck when you're drafting against great players in a high-level competition. And 2 Oni Cult Anvils, amazing. When an artifact can leave the battlefield, I get a 1/1, and I can sacrifice an artifact to deal 1 damage to an opponent and gain a life. So, slowly drain them out of the game, fuel my synergies. Easy Oni Cult Anvil. I might play the Replication Specialist, but at this point, if I just get a good enough black-red deck, which it looks likely because I'm getting these Anvils, I'm going to be in great shape. This is a really good start to the draft. Okay. Now I'm just going to be taking artifacts. The Mnemonic Sphere, not a card I'm super looking to play. Takedown, not really either. I'm just going to take the Ogre. It's an artifact creature, so I can sacrifice it to the Anvil, and it's an aggressive card. I might end up in a more grindy direction. It's also just an artifact that I can copy with the Specialist potentially. But yeah, everything's pretty much a artifact except for this Gravelighter and this Kumano. An Unstoppable Ogre can be pretty good. This is a great start. We will want to get some more 2-drop creatures and some more artifacts to sacrifice. Okay, there is an Automated Artificer, which we could take. Again, I'm really not looking to play non-premium combat tricks because they're going to know that I have it. Secluded Courtyard. Can name Artificer. If I really wanted to splash that direction, I just don't think that's necessary. I'm just going to take this Artificer and potentially be able to cast my cards easier. It's kind of not a great pick, but it's an option because I just want to make sure I have enough artifacts to fuel my Oni Cult Anvils. Now I'll take Shrine Steward over this Ronin. The Ronin's not really an artifact, doesn't synergize, but Shrine Steward, if I get some enchantment-based removal like the Aura, this card could be playable. It's also an artifact that I don't mind sacrificing to my Anvil. So yeah, this is going really well for me right now. And we get the Explosive Entry. I wouldn't mind playing 1 Ronin maybe. I do have this as a warrior as well. I just don't think the Ronin's that good. And an Explosive Entry for the sideboard is pretty good at the very least. Wow, we got the Steelbreaker back. This is perfect. More artifact sacrifice shenanigans is great. And this one doesn't need me to sacrifice it with this. So if I sacrifice an artifact to this Steelbreaker, it can work really well. Not really going for a Samurai's deck. I'll take the Cudgels. I'm not going to play it, though. Okay, moving on to pack 2. I've opened to the Tezzeret, I mean. Tezzeret is a great card for an artifact deck because you can turn your artifacts into 4/4s. But my deck is really strong. It's very synergistic, black-red. And so even though I would consider splashing the Replication Specialist, I'm not going to splash Tezzeret. And I don't think I'm currently even splashing the Specialist. These are the cards I'd be happy playing right now. I've got 10 after pack 1, which is great. I have Okiba Reckoner Raid as an option here, and Kami's Flare. I like Okiba Reckoner Raid a lot. I think it's a great card, but I already have a couple of 1-drops in the form of Kumano and Simian Sling, and I just want to make sure I get some removal spells to interact with what my opponent's doing, because right now all I have is this Assassin's Ink and this Explosive Entry. So, looking for the Kami's Flare here. I would have taken the Okiba Reckoner Raid if the Kami's Flare wasn't in the pack over the Tezzeret still, though, because playing a double blue card isn't going to happen. I've got my very synergistic black-red deck all locked and loaded. Let's start moving our cards that we're not going to cast on curve over here. Okay. This is an interesting pick here. Kind of a key point in the draft, and a time to illustrate a key point, I think. So Dragonspark Reactor is quite a powerful card. It can be used with a ton of artifacts to kill creatures and deal damage to players. I have currently got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artifacts right now, but I'm not going to take the Dragonspark Reactor, and I'm actually going to take, I think, the Song Shaper or the Decoy. Maybe the Decoy, just because of all the synergy it has with the Anvil. Because I don't think other players are necessarily going to be able to use this Dragonspark Reactor that effectively. I think the Tawashi Song Shaper is fine, but it's going to be worse than Decoy in this deck because I want to be able to sacrifice to my Oni Cult Anvil and be able to draw a card. Also, the Dragonspark Reactor, you need to have 12 artifacts, which I'm on pace to do. But I think I have a decent chance of wheeling either the Reactor or the Song Shaper if I only take if I take this Papercraft Decoy. So getting a Song Shaper on the wheel wouldn't be bad either. And I just want to make sure I get the Decoy. I think it's really going to be good in my deck. Wow, another tough pick here. There is Eater of Virtue, which is a really strong equipment. It turns all of my creatures into real threats, but I don't really have a ton of creatures, so I might just take Voltage Surge instead. Shattered Stateseer would be fine too. This card, Eater of Virtue, is good if you're aggressive and you have cards that you want to, and you have tokens or things like that. I guess I have these Oni Cult Anvil 1/1s. Voltage Surge is really good though, because it helps me fuel those. I'm worried about enabling these Oni Cult Anvils. And I think if I have them rolling, I won't need Eater of Virtue to win the game. It's a close pick, though. Eater of Virtue is quite good, I think. I haven't seen any lands, so Voltage Surge is great here for me. And now another Experimental Synthesizer is the perfect card. Perfect thing to sacrifice to an Oni Cult Anvil or to a Steelbreaker. And just get me some card advantage. I think there's been a couple of close picks in this draft. I think that the pick between the Decoy and the Reactor was really close, especially because because I don't have any 2-drop creatures. And the pick between Voltage Surge and the equipment was also close. But I think I'd rather just have a good removal spell, make sure I can kill whatever my opponents play that I care about. And also, this is the perfect card. Experimental Synthesizer was built to play with the Anvil pretty much. And this is going quite well. Okay, I'm going to take the Ironhoof Boar here. There's also a You Are Already Dead, but I'm not going to take that. That sort of card gets worse when you're playing in this sort of environment where your opponent is likely to have a read on exactly what you have in your deck. Ironhoof Boar is fine because I can just play it as an artifact creature. You Are Already Dead. I guess You Are Already Dead works with my tokens a little bit better. I think I'd rather have that than the Ironhoof Boar. I'm not really that aggressive, and being able to use these 1/1s effectively is nice. Also, having one copy of this in my deck opens up a whole range of attacks. Just not really a super aggro deck. I'm more of a mid-rangey, grindy deck. I would like to get more creatures, but I don't think Ironhoof Boar really counts. Okay, pretty easy. Dismal Backwater opens up outs of splashing this Replication Specialist. Currently, this Artificer is in. The Specialist might be in now that I have this dual land. The thing is, even if I don't wheel the Reactor, I'll probably wheel the Tawashi Songshaper, based on the way this draft has gone. So this pack has been a little bit weaker for us, but we've gotten some key pieces. We got two synthesizers, a voltage. I mean, we got a synthesizer, a voltage surge, and a Kami's flare this pack for some nice little role players in the deck. And then we got this Papercraft decoy. We might wheel something good as well. And now we have a dual land that could potentially help us out. So I'm not really going to be splashing green in this deck. There's no green card I really want. Crackling Emergence also not a card I want, but I could see Reckoner's Bargain being fine if I get the right pieces. Again, I'm just really light on creatures right now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 creatures, so creatures are my priority right now. The synthesizers can kind of be like creatures, but not really. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not including the blue creature because I'm not likely to play it. Another Scrapyard Steelbreaker, perfect. More ways to sacrifice my artifacts. I got my synthesizers and these Oni Cold Anvils tokens. And just having another creature. I'm not really playing a lot of 4-drops, so I can afford to play a couple of these. They're also artifacts themselves. So we'll keep in mind that we have the Backwater Replication Specialist little thing. So Kami of Industry actually looks great in this deck. I don't have any 5-drops. I'm a grindy deck, and I have artifacts that reward me when they come back into play or get sacrificed. So like I can bring back in an Oni Cult Anvil, sacrifice something, or I can bring back in like an Experimental Synthesizer, sacrifice it to my Oni Cult Anvil. I think it's going to be better than Clawing Torment or the Inkres Infiltrator. And as I said, I just need creatures. Who said this would wheel? That's right, I said this would wheel. I knew it would wheel. I think Dragonspark Reactor is just going to be great in this deck. There's the Tawashi Songshaper, but I'm getting the Papercraft decoy is just better because I want to be able to sacrifice my 2-drops to the Anvils, and so I can just draw another card. And I have so many artifacts, this Dragonspark Reactor is going to be great. The fact that the Tawashi Songshaper also wheeled means nobody's in my color, so I'm going to get everything I want in pack 3. It's going to be incredible. I'm going to take the Network Terminal, and then I can probably play this Replication Specialist if I want. Just off of a single island, because now I have all the sources I need. I'm just going to play a grindy version of this deck. I'll play all of my grindy tools. Probably cut the Simian Sling and maybe the Kumano as well. Just cut an artifact from the pool so other players don't try to move in. I think I'm still going to play the Simian Sling because I can sack it to an Oni Cult Anvil and get that chain rolling as quickly as possible. Though maybe I won't have to play it if I get enough synthesizers. That's a fine card to have in the sideboard. Access to. Boom. What do we see here? So there is Tatsunari, which is really good if I can cast enchantments. I don't have enchantments. I only have this Kumano. It's a 3/3. The other card I could take is this Nezumi Prowler. I could still get a couple of more sagas. So I think Tatsunari is still worth picking over the Prowler. I don't have ways to enable the Prowler, so it's just a 2-mana 3/1 in my deck for the most part, which is fine because it's also an artifact. Searchlight Companion would be really good. which I'll probably wheel. I know it is an artifact, but Tatsunari is really high upside. I'll probably play the Kumano now that I have the Tatsunari. Because, like, if I ever get to make a 3/3, it's just, like, insane. So, like, the card, 3-mana 3/3 is already just a fine card. It doesn't really work with my tokens because I'd have to ninjutsu back a token to my hand. Yeah, I'll just take Tatsunari. Wow, this is crazy. Life of Toshiro Umezawa is a really good card. Sekenzen Smelter has so much synergy with my deck, though. I think I'm going to wheel the Smelter. I'm going to take the life so that my Tatsunari gets better. Because now that I have 2 sagas, there's actually a chance that I get to do it. So basically, the reason that I'm not taking the Smelter here is because if it doesn't wheel, I'm going to get the Song Shaper. Both of them being in the pack is nice for me. And the Toshiro Umezawa makes my Tatsunari, like, way better. Tatsunari is really good. If I ever get a second 3/3 off of it. And now we'll have 2 auras. This card's also just insane. Like, I can potentially kill 2 creatures with it. And the Sekenzen Smelter isn't even, like, insane in my deck. Like, it's really good if I already have an Oni Cult Anvil going. But I think the life of Umezawa will be really good for me. Okay. So there's a Mukotai Ambusher, which I can't really enable. I'll take the Unstoppable Ogre, I think, over the Ambusher and over the Explosive Entry. I already have 1 entry that I'm putting in the sideboard for now anyway. The Kami of Terrible Secrets is a fine card, but not for my deck where I only have 2 enchantments. And I think Tatsunari is really good. Like, I think folks may be discounting how powerful that card is. So Heiko Yamazaki can just draw a card every time I attack with it, pretty much. That's pretty good. There's also another entry, an Iron Apprentice, but pretty easy Heiko. I'm just trying to build the deck right now. So 24 cards here, including the Dismal Backwater and the Network Terminal. I think I like going more mid-range with it. I'm not super aggressive, and I can grind out the late game with my anvils. This Automated Artificer is not a card I want to be playing. How many creatures am I out right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Do I like the Apprentice? Iron Apprentice? In some decks, it's probably fine. It's not that great in mine. The Ogre is not the best, because I'm not that aggressive. But it is an artifact creature. So when a modified creature I control dies, how many equipments and modifications do I have? I don't think I want this guy. I don't want to play Return to Action because I don't really have creatures that I want to be bringing back all that much. And I don't like playing combat tricks in a format with open deck lists. It just makes them, like, so much worse. Also, taking the Saga makes it so I'm not going to get wrecked by it with my Unstoppable Ogres, which isn't really a big factor. Here, it's between Iron Apprentice and Explosive Entry. I think I'll take Iron Apprentice. It plays well with my Oni Cult Anvils. It's a good card to sacrifice. Explosive Entry is interesting because it's really good against my deck, but I also don't expect there to be a lot of other red drafters at this table based on how it's gone. So I don't mind having some of these floating around in the mix. There's another Artificer here. I'm not even playing the You Are Already Dead that I already have. Maybe I will play it, though, just to like make them have to question whether I have it in my hand. I'll have another 2-drop in case I play against an aggro deck. Scrapyard Steelbreaker is a great addition. I think I will play the 2 Artificers now that I have the 3 Steelbreakers. This is 28 cards. I could definitely see some Unstoppable Ogres getting cut from this. So this is my first wheel. This was the pack that I took Tatsunari out of over something. I don't remember what I took Tatsunari over. The next pack is the one that would maybe have the Sokens and Smelter in it. I'm going to take the debt to the Kami. So it's either the Smelter or the Synthesizer. And neither one came back. Interesting. Interessant. Still no regrets on that one. I'm going to take the second network terminal and I'm going to play it. Oh, Smelter was pick 3? Oh, it was pick 3. You're right. Because I went Tatsunari into something, into the... Oh, no, it was pick that pick. It would have been that pick. I'll take the Explosive Entry out of the commission. I don't think anyone else is really going for artifacts heavily, but having 2 in the sideboard will be good. I do not know right now. It'll get posted. Thank you so much, Rival to Mars, for the subscription. I really appreciate that. Okay, so this is the build portion. This is an important aspect of the deck. So, do I want to play any explosive entries? I don't think so. It's a consideration, but I think I would rather just side those in the matchups they're going to be good in, which will be 1 or 2, but I don't think all of my opponents have a lot of artifacts because I took a lot of the artifacts. You Are Already Dead is another consideration. I guess I'll add it for now. I'm not going to play any of these Reckoners, Bargains, this Dead to the Kami, or these Secluded Courtyards. I think I'm going to try to cut as many lands as I can to reduce the odds of me flooding out. And let's just see what the bare bones version of the deck looks like. This is 30 cards, and I would need 10 lands. I think I want to run 15 lands because I have these fairly low curve. I have 2 Artificers and 2 Network Terminals, and I think I'm going to play all of those. And because of that, I think I can shave down to 15 lands because my curve is already relatively low. I want to splash this Specialist because it's going to be insane in my deck. I'm not super aggressive, so I think Unstoppable Ogres are pretty easy cuts. This Kami of Industry is interesting because returning an artifact from my graveyard to the battlefield and giving it haste could be good because then I'll sacrifice it, and by sacrificing it, I'll trigger my Oni Cult Anvils. So this is like a free Oni Cult Anvil trigger, but it's also not like the greatest card in my deck. The Network Terminals also ensure that I won't get flooded, so maybe I can run like 15, and I can also sacrifice them to the Anvils. So I think I can go 16 lands in this deck. And then just see how that looks. I don't think I want the You Are Already Dead. And Kami of Industry is not looking the best. It only really works with this Iron Apprentice, and I guess Papercraft Decoy if I had enough mana, but I'm not really planning on having that much mana, because I'm going to try to be discarding all my extra lands with these terminals. So I'm going to cut the Kami of Industry unless I play a specific matchup. I like the Steel Breakers at the top. I like the Replication Specialist to copy them. I like all of this interaction and the synthesizers. These are really key pieces of my deck because they work well with the anvils. I like the artificers to help cast these steel breakers and just have everything curve out nicely. The Gravelighter is interesting. I think it could be really good in my deck with all of my sack shenanigans. I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 artifacts to go with this Dragonspark reactor, so I'm certainly playing that. I will cut some of these random junkers. I'm going to cut the You Are Already Dead. It's a little bit hard to enable in my deck. And they're going to be able to play around it because they're all very good players. The Simian Slings can get my Oni Cult Anvils rolling early in the game. Iron Apprentice is pretty good for that as well. It does work well with it, but my opponents aren't going to fall for it because they know it was in my main deck, which actually makes it a really good sideboard card because after sideboard, they won't know if I have it in my deck. So this is 14, 15 lands. I have the Tatsunari +2 enchantments. I have Heiko Yamazaki, which is pretty good. I'm not cutting these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm going to splash for blue because why not? I want to play the terminals anyway, so I don't flood. And my curve is really low because I have these two artificers that are also like mana dorks. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And it's also really high value to have one Unstoppable Ogre in the main deck that my opponents know about because it might make them less aggressive with their attacks because if I draw it, then they'll have to be worried about it. I think 15 lands would be fine here. My curve is really low with the two Artificers and the Network Terminals tapping for mana. And I want to keep my... The Iron Apprentice is really weak, but I'm planning on sacrificing it every single time. I can't activate it. But because I have the two Network Terminals to get blue and this Dismal Backwater. So I basically have the Synthesizers, which can help me dig for lands, the Artificers, which are basically lands. So I only really need 2 lands to function in this deck because if I draw 2 lands in an Artificer, it's like having a 3-land hand, and I don't really curve out past 4. No, you don't need the frog. Also, the decoy is a frog. That's funny. But yeah, I think I'm going to run it like this. I think I'm going to run 15 lands. It is best of 3, but I think the Simian Sling is my weakest card, actually. But it can push through the last points of damage when combined with something like an Anvil. How many creatures are in this deck? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Kind of 15. Kind of 16, 17 if I need them. 15 lands is aggressively low. And I have the 2 Network Terminals to help me make sure I don't flood. I'm kind of treating these Artificers as like half a land each because they can tap to cast every spell in my deck pretty much. I'm going to run it like this. So yeah, that is going to be the build. We'll see how it does, and I'll see you in the matches. Before I get to the games, I want to give a huge shout out to all of the patrons who support my content at patreon.com/NicolaiBolas, and special shout out to those at the credits level. If you've never heard of Patreon, it is a site where you, the viewer, can go and pledge an amount of your choosing each month to my content to help me continue to make videos and also gain access to some Patreon exclusive rewards like access to my Neon Dynasty card by card tier list. If Patreon is something that sounds like it would interest you, it's also worth noting that there's no long-term commitment, so you don't have to lock in, and you can check it out, cancel at any time, or rejoin the Patreon if you decide to do so. You can find more information at patreon.com/NicolaiBolas, links in the description down below. But without further ado, let's get to the matches. Hello, everybody, and welcome to round one. We will play first after winning the die roll, and we will promptly mulligan a no-lander. Yeah, we can't keep this either. It's kind of cute because we could go like Kumano into Iron Apprentice, into Vulture Surge, that thing to put the counter on that guy. This is a good hand though. Keep. So we can go 1, 2. We have to get rid of 2 cards. Gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna get rid of that. Mulliganing to 5 doesn't really feel good in a match like this, but you know, I have no control over that. I mean, I could have put more lands in my deck, but I mean, I drew a 0-lander and a 1-lander, so the first hand wasn't going to be keepable no matter what. So we have his deck list available to us. This is his deck. I'm really afraid of that Lion Sash. He has a decent number of 1 toughness creatures. He might be trying to go for Intercessor's Arrest. He has some clunky removal spells. But he has enough artifacts that I'm willing to play my artifact kill spells, especially this Lion Sash. Okay. That's what I got. Mulling to 5 hurts, but you know, I couldn't control that, so I'm just going to do my best to win with what I have. Okay, so he has the Cyber Trespassers maybe. So that won't affect my attacking. Oh, he has that. Interesting. Okay. Right. So I've got the clock ticking. He does not have artifact removal. He has Atamia's Completion that can be put on it, but he already used one of those. And he has Mirror Shell Crab, which can kind of mess with it. But generally speaking, we're in great shape now, because the Dragon Spark Reactor is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. Huge draw. What a rip. So he has some ninjas. He has Thousand Faced, Kitsune, but nothing that's really scary for me. Sure. Sure. So this thing can just finish him off. He doesn't know a way to kill it, really. I think we got him. The only way he doesn't die is if he uses Tamiya's completion on that thing. If he plays Ear of Enlightenment to gain 2 life. No, gaining 2 life is a bit later. Nice. Okay. Completion does hit the reactor, but he already used one of those. So I'm going to bring in 1 copy of Explosive Entry and cut Simian Sling, I think. What's he going to bring in? Maybe I'll bring in both copies. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 targets. He's likely to bring in suit ups, short circuits most likely. So I think I can cut that guy safely. How does Unstoppable Ogre line up? Unstoppable Ogre lines up terribly. I'm going to cut the Unstoppable Ogre. Because he has these Spirited Companions. Do I have any other X ones? Yeah, but that one's fine. Still have 14 artifacts. You Already Dead is interesting, but I do have my Explosive Entry to kill his big artifact. Skyscraper thing. Yeah. Arrest can't be put on an artifact, can it? Oh, they do enchant a permanent. You're right, it does. Great, I'm not going to have to mulligan. Let's go. And he does have to mulligan? Let's go, Justice! I'll play this. Maybe I can get it rolling. Okay, he has that. Makes sense. Luckily, his ability things don't stop my replication specialist, I don't think, very much. Lose all abilities. So yeah, the completion does, but not the arrest. Is the triggered ability. I'll block with the apprentice now, just so he can't ninjutsu something. He doesn't have a ninja, or he didn't that turn. Yeah, I know he had one ninja there. Okay. Might save the second Steelbreaker for after I play the specialist. Yes! I knew that the Lion Sash could be a problem, so I sideboarded accordingly. Sure. Where are the scries headed? He does have the Regent's Authority, which could be a combat trick. Other than that, I don't see any combat tricks. Tough scry decision, it looks like. Three to the top, okay. Okay. Hold the Unspeakable will be pretty annoying. My deck is in great shape right now. Okay. Does lose its abilities, which is a shame. If I can kill that, and then I can sacrifice my Papercraft Decoy to kill another one, or I can just accept that they're going to take 6. I suspect a ninja. And I don't really care. Good call, yeah. Holding lands would definitely be good. Nice draw. Huge. So I can kill all 3 of his creatures. What do you have? Removal spell will be pretty annoying. Still think I'd be ahead. I have this Kamano coming down soon. He doesn't have the crab. What's in his hand? He doesn't have crab. He doesn't have skyscraper, probably. He doesn't have the hold. Okay. Congrats, Justy. Okay, skyscraper, sure. If he attacks me with this, he's dead. I could attack him with this. If he blocks, I sack 1, 2, 3. His only out would be giving his guy +1/+1 and flying, but because I have a second one of these, I can gain another life. Yes! 1-0 in the showdown. Well played, Florida man. But let's go, team. See you folks next round. Hello, and welcome to round 2. We won the die roll. We'll go first. And a great hand, all our colors. Perfect curve out. This could be a quick one. This is actually a sick hand. I have the 1 copy of Unstoppable Ogre. I actually have all my colors. Let's see, what would we be afraid of from her? This is her deck list. It is open deck list, so this isn't by any means unfair to do. Kind of a Generous Visitor would be kind of scary because I can't kill it right now. And she has a lot of enchantments, or decent number. But overall, she doesn't have any like terrifying rares or anything. Oh, that's such a good draw. And she has a bunch of like 1/2 flyers. So she has some 4-drops to ramp into, but not really. This guy's not that scary. Sure. I just want to get this down and start the pinging. Because I don't think she'll be able to close the game that quickly. She does have ninjas, though. That's kind of unfortunate. Mm-hmm. I can attack with this, sacrifice it. No, I'll just... The infiltrator, the Dukichi silencer is kind of annoying. She could have another ambusher. Yeah. I can kill that, it's not a problem. Soon I won't have to sacrifice them like that. I'll just be able to sack them to hit them hard with my steel breaker. I don't have a second mountain to play any red cards I hit off this, which is a little unfortunate, so maybe I'll wait on it. The more mana they invest into this, the better it is for me. Do they have any other really scary creatures I have to deal with? Not really. She activates Incredible Trader. I'm okay with that. That guy's a little bit annoying. And she discarded that. Interesting. I do have the 2 network things, so I'm going to keep this. I'm going to do the decoy play now, I think. I don't know why I played my land there. That was bad. I guess I could hold up a sacrifice, but yeah, that's not worth it. Especially because she has the long reach of Knight in her deck, too. I'm going to have to use that on this Goshintai. I might as well do it at some point here. How many answers do I have for that? All right, I can't see right now. I might have to just kill the Synchronize Infiltrator if she spends 8 mana on it again. Gosh. Okay, the double pumps are coming. Hey, Celestium Mage. The Infiltrator is a huge problem. Maybe I was just supposed to kill that instead of the dock side. But then she just draws so many cards that I'd probably lose anyway. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Would I rather sack a 1/1 for a point of damage? Probably. Oh my gosh, I might be able to win this. I'm gonna be able to kill her flyer. I'm gonna lose my specialist in the process, but she has to spend her whole turn if she wants to kill my specialist, and then I can take over. So she might not even be able to do that. Holy heck. Like if she attacks, I get to block with my specialist. She has to double pump if she wants to, so then I get to invest all my mana. I get to kill it for sure. Oh, I should have played this land, because now if I draw another land, I could have had double activated because I have this thing. And I've got her dead next turn. Oh my gosh. Thought I was so dead. She doesn't have anything that can get me. This can gain her some life. So I still need to dot my I's and cross my T's. She also has Fade into Antiquity. So she could still hit that and be alive. But only barely. I think I still kill her if she has Fade. Yes. Huge win in game 1. She punishes my X1s pretty hard, so I'm going to cut the 4-1 from the deck. She also has some big creatures, so You Are Already Dead could be good. She doesn't have any artifacts. No, she does. She has the 2 Mukotai Ambushers. And a Searchlight Companion. And a Virus Beetle, but I'm never killing the Virus Beetle. So I'm definitely cutting my 4-1. The question is, do I want Kami of Industry? Probably not. I think You Are Already Dead could be good because she has some big creatures. Yeah, that reactor was so good. I think that might have been the only card that got me out of it. Remember when I, decided to wheel the reactor? What did it play? On the draw, I'm going to keep this. Papercraft Decoy is a fine 2-drop. I do have I have 9 red sources, essentially. I'll block the Generous Visitor. It's going to be a problem over the course of the game, even if I don't draw a card immediately. Sure. I'm off to a slow start, but I've got Replication Specialist, which can do some good stuff. Better than a Mountain would have been the Network Disruptor. And now we just need to catch up. What's her removal look like? She doesn't really have removal. She does have 2 Story Weaves we need to be aware of. The combat tricks just get so much worse in this economy. She's a little stuck on lands, and I can use that to my advantage. She has Silencer that can deal with it if she gets through unblocked. And that's it. And then I can just make 2 Scrapyard Steelbreakers and be way ahead. Well, I punted. Auto Tapper screwed me. I was going to copy the Scrapyard Steelbreaker, but for some reason it decided to tap my blue source. Oh my gosh. I'm going to lose because of that. Why would it tap my blue source? And then I just cast this because I was being foolish. I should have also waited on that one. Getting 2 of them would have been way better. Yeah. I'm so disappointed. That was terrible. I would have won this game easily if I just copied. If I literally could have copied either one and I would have won easily. Auto Tapper is normally so useful. Oh. I'm totally gonna lose now because of that. It's gonna just literally cost me the game. Because I could have, if I had 2 Oni Cult Anvils, I would just slowly make a ground army. But now I don't have that engine. Sure. I can triple block this. Play around Story Weave. I know 2 of the cards in your hand. Totally still in it. I'm killing the flyer because she's got the same double pump shenanigans. Not the best ordering I've ever done. So she has 8 toughness there. I made this game needlessly difficult for myself, but that's the way the game is played, and I've got to just bounce back. This does have reach. She doesn't have a way to get trampled, does she? Nope. Wow, you don't have to unattach it and then reattach it? Oh my gosh. Wow, I did not understand how that worked. Huh, I thought you had to pay to unattach. Oh yeah, you're right, she has the, like, enchantment thing that can... The enchantment creature that can do stuff. Cast target, so I could attack with this guy. She can gain some time with her ambushers. We gain a bunch of life. So if she puts 2 counters on this, it'll be a 6-7. No, a 6-8. Which she has the mana to do. You're right, that's not how Heiko works. Oops. I should have attacked with all my guys. Yep. Yeah, she was totally dead. I attacked all. Kind of afraid of the March of Sorrow. I'm gonna hold back 2 guys just to be safe. She could make like a giant roaring earth or something, maybe. She's taking lethal right now. Yes! And NicolaiBolas qualifies for the final round. It will be Nicolai, 3 Hall of Famers, and whoever is willing to meet him in the finals. Yes! Oh, bounced back from that horrific auto tapper and clutched the win. What a round. The first game was hella close. The second game was hella close. Let's go into the final round and also just the glory points of winning this draft. So I'll see you folks there. Welcome to the final round. We are against Deathzy, and it is for all, not really all the marbles. We've both already qualified for the final round tomorrow. So this is just a show match for ultimate supremacy of the pod. But let's show you what we're up against. He has 2 Brilliant Restorations, Jugen defends the temple, Kami of Transience, and Kyodai, Soul of Kamigawa. So his deck is nutty, and it's going to be a challenge to defeat that. We have to mulligan. And we're going to mulligan this one. Are we going to mulligan this one? I think we're going to keep this one and just try to high roll it. So on turn 2, I'll play the Synthesizer, try to flip a land off it. He kept a 1-lander too. That's hilarious. We both kept 1 land hand. Oh my gosh. He must have ecologist's terrain. Oh man. Well, this makes it a little more even footing. Yes. Both the colors I needed. Okay, he hit his land. Dang it. Dang it! If he plays the stupid Kami, I'm toast. Toast, I tell you, toast. Yeah, he had the terrarium. As I suspected. So, because his deck is so controlling, I'm going to play my most aggressive game plan possible, I think. Try to beat him down before he can get me. have an answer to the Jugan. I'm definitely holding up Voltage Surge to zap the Jugan before they can have a creature ETB. Which is brutal because they do have Tamiyo safekeeping. Also, I have the frog guy in my deck that I haven't drawn this entire time, I just realized. What could he have for 4 mana? Kyodai? Oh, you're kidding me. I knew he had Kyodai. That's why open deck lists make it a lot more interesting at times. Sure. Maybe Kami isn't as good in his deck. He hasn't played a lot of enchantments to go with it. Why not kill the dragon? I did kill the dragon. I killed the dragon that was a lot scarier. So I can sacrifice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm actually in a winnable position here. I think it's the same time tomorrow for the finals. Sure. So this can deal 1 damage to my opponent. This is a warrior too. Nice. That's 6 energy. So they have 8 power, 9 toughness. I should have tapped this for mana first. No. I think Steelbreaker's better because I can get back the anvil with the Yamazaki synergy. And I was so close to being able to cast that guy. He doesn't have quad white yet, which is nice too. If I had drawn that stupid Hatsunari a turn earlier, I would have been able to make my 3/3 with it. Oh, that's a bummer. I can get back to Synthesizer, though. Which is good value. And he's also permanently in chump block mode right now. He does have 2 of these spinning wheel kicks, so it's likely he has one. Does he have combat tricks? I don't really care. I'm going to take the 9. So I have to sacrifice 4 things to not have it die. And they all get exiled, which is nice. Oh no, it's only if the guy's flipped already. He's just setting up for a brilliant restoration. Okay, Dragon Spark Reactor. You got this. Also, if I tapped the artifact for mana, you're right, and I'm bad. I would have won if I'd done that. That was bad. Oh, there's his quad white. Oh, it's all on the board. I figured I might exile my other thingamajig. Okay. So I have him at a functional 7 minus 2 is 5. Minus 1 is 6. He has to block with multiple things. I definitely want to get rid of this Tanuki. Six. Woo! Got the win. Ooh, that was intense. Holy jeez Louise. Oh my gosh. We beat Kami of Transience, Kyodai, and Jugen Defends the Temple. Let's think. So. I don't have any anti-enchantment stuff. He's going to be able to bring in Lucky Offering, which is devastating against me. And some Jukai trainees. I feel like I had like 6 unstoppable ogres that I could have played. Like I felt like I had 5 unstoppable ogres. I wonder where they went. But definitely gonna bring in that one. Reckoner takedown, yep. I'm gonna be on the draw this game. It's gonna be interesting. Hoping I can nab a brilliant restoration with my discard spell. I definitely had a bunch of the 4/1s in my pool. Okay, this is a good hand. The terminals are gonna have to do some work, but this hand is decent. It's got removal for an early bomb of some kind. Yep, he sided into the more aggressive variant of his deck, and I sided into the more controlling variant of mine. Hit command bracket, Celadonio. It's unfortunate. Jugin's gonna beat me this game. It doesn't do anything, Zeladonio, I told you. Yeah, I knew he'd have this card. Yeah, I was never going to win this game. He has Jugin, and I don't have a kill spell for it. Hoping for the best here. This is good. Literally draws his 3-mana mythic rare every single game.
I can't do anything about this stupid Jugan. It's insane.
I have to save this to kill this Jugan, but he could also just have his protection spell.
Oh my gosh. That was insane.
Well, if you were watching this on YouTube and you made it all the way till the end of the video, it was still a successful run. We still qualified for the finals, which is what we set out to do. Hopefully I can draft an even better deck there and have a shot at the grand prize of $500. Its first prize is 500, second prize 250, third prize 150, and fourth prize 100. So good equity in the top 8 to win something. And this deck was super sweet. We had some really close matches. We had some crazy ones. And overall performed quite well, I would say, with the fact that, I mean, our deck technically had a rare in it, but we literally never cast the Tatsunari. And we played our best. I mean, I made some slight mistakes here and there. I had some tapping issues where I could have maybe got that Tatsunari into play, but overall, just played really well. And, I mean, I lost to the deck that in 3 games that played Jugan Defends the Temple on turn 3 every single game. So it's just a hard-fought battle sometimes. I think playing 15 lands worked out decently. It was pretty interesting for sure. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, made it all the way to the end of the video, remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel for more draft content, and comment below with your questions, thoughts, and feedback. And to let me know you made it all the way till the end of the video, in the comment section down below, leave hashtag Clutch Dragon Spark, because this card won us 2 games that were almost certainly lost without it, and it was also one of the craziest wheels that I've had. So Clutch Dragon Spark to let me know you made it all the way till the end of the video. Or you could leave hashtag reactor reaction, because I reacted quite strongly when I drew it, I think almost all the time. So yeah, If you would like to support my content, you could do so via Patreon, patreon.com/NicolaiBolas. It helps me continue to make all of these videos. You get to choose a set amount each month to contribute towards my content, and you gain access to some cool rewards. So even $1 or $2 a month goes a long way, and you gain access to some cool rewards like my card by card tier list for each set. You can put in the credits, you can gain access to coaching, you can choose like stipulations for drafts or a topic for a video of mine, that sort of thing. You can find that linked in the description, and also in the description you can find link to the NicolaiBolas merchandise, the NicolaiBolas Discord server, my Twitter, I post there whenever I post a new video. You can also find links to my articles, which are free to read. And if you have Amazon Prime, you can support my content at no extra cost to yourself. Simply click on the Twitch link in the description, and then you can connect your Amazon and Twitch accounts and subscribe to my channel with Prime Gaming, and it supports my content at no extra cost to yourself. So that's just free value. Anyway, that is going to do it for this one. I'll see you folks in the final round, hopefully, in the final pod for competing against Reed Duke, Ben Stark, Seth Manfield, and a bunch of other great content creators. But 3 Hall of Famers, NicolaiBolas, and it's going to be a great time. I hope to see you in that video. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you next time.